Yo, what up? What up? What up? Back with another World News reaction. I'm your boy Changing Narratives. Thanks for coming to the channel. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Let's continue to grow. You feel me? I cover all news around the whole world. You know, whether it's going from migration to president to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Health tips, Bible, whatever. We cover it all, baby. So today we're going to focus on Australia. Became the first country to ban kids from social media. Now, this is, I think this is it's actually a good thing. A lot of people not gonna like it, but I think it's a good thing. I don't think kids should be allowed on social media because it's messing our country up. It's messing the mindset up. It's messing the culture up. It's messing everything up. But let's dig into this news and see what they had to say.
Speaking of which, Australia is now the first country in the world to ban social media for kids under 16.
So could we see something like this one day here in the United States?
And Todd Pyro joins us now to break it all down for us. Hey, Todd.
That is the big question, guys. Good morning to you. This historic ban went into effect this morning in Australia as a way to protect their kids there from the harms of social media.
This is world leading. This is Australia showing enough is enough. Make no mistake, this reform will change lives for Australian kids and allowing them to just have their childhood. For Australian parents, enabling them to have greater peace of mind.
So here's what the ban does. It impacts almost a dozen of the most popular platforms in the world, like Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, X, and more, requiring age verification for access to the sites. But if the platforms don't comply, they can face up to $33 million in fines.
This is Australia calling time on social media and the deceptive and harmful design features tethering our children to their platforms. We have young Australians who have literally taken their lives as a result of accessing these platforms. So when their lawyer Will's back it up about, do you know about free speech? Well, do you know that we actually have laws, and we expect any company that is providing services in Australia to abide with our laws.
Social media giant Meta, however, says they have consistently raised concerns about this law, arguing, quote, there's a better way. Legislation that empowers parents to approve app downloads and verify age, that allows families, not the government, to decide which apps teens can access.
I agree. It should be no social media until they at least 16, dog. Because they learning so much stuff, and they learning all the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? At an early age because of social media, and they not being, nobody's watching them. Nobody's seeing what they going on. And even with this, if this law was to ever go in effect in the U.S., all parents gonna do is just sign in for their kid and give them the phone. So it still ain't gonna really stop nothing.
Despite the pushback,
but it will help. It will help though, because it's still gonna be kids that not gonna be able to get on there.
Back from the platforms themselves, it's something lawmakers here in the U.S. say we need to look into.
We do.
I think protecting children is an avenue that should be pursued. I won't rule out.
It's about protecting their minds. We got to protect their minds.
Or use of those.
They got impressionable minds.
I just tell you, parents and grandparents need a helping hand. This is getting out of hand.
I think we ought to look at what Australia is doing, for example, and requiring access to these social media platforms to not be available to anybody under the age of 16.
We're going to have to wait and see, though, if Congress ends up taking any concrete action. But you heard there, two senators, different parties, there could be bipartisan agreement on this.
All right. Well, you have two little girls. What do you think about it, Todd?
I want it. You know, look, obviously, not the biggest fan of regulations on the whole. A regulatory environment is bad for business, but this is something different. This involves the protection of the voiceless, the powerless that cannot fight for themselves in the halls of Congress. And that's why we need a ban like this. But again, that's just one father's opinion.
All right, thanks. You know, I was looking at some of the officials in Australia, and they were saying, hey, look, we have a ban on you can't drink until you're 18 back then. And there's somebody now who has fake ID drinking at 16. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, and there's going to be some people going to find a way around it. We are going to stay on top of it, just like you got to be a certain age to drive, certain age to drink, certain age to do social media. They said, look, you might have older siblings. They might be finding a way to get you.
Well, there'll be a way around it. I'll tell you how. In our kitchen, we have a TV, and it's always on Fox News, unless if I want to watch something on, I don't know, you can get all the apps. We have the Apple TVs. You can get all the apps. So how are they going to be able to say, well, Ainsley's older than 16, so she can have YouTube? But how are they going to make sure my daughter is not clicking on YouTube?
I just have to be honest, and maybe because I may be in the minority of this because I'm not a father just yet. Okay, so maybe I have preference with that. But it makes me uneasy when the government starts saying, like the senator said, sometimes the grandmother and the parents need a helping hand. I don't like that. I don't like the government. I think they're trying to substitute parenting when the parents can make the decision to block all apps. They can go onto the Wi-Fi app and block all communication toward these things.
But what about latchkey kids, you know, who both parents work, they're 12 years old, they come home to a house, they get the keys, they go in, they're on their own, you know, so there's got to be, I kind of like it just because there's certain regulations. For example, your kid might be mature, but at 13 years old, you're not going to put him or her behind the wheel. That's not, I don't think that's government coming down. I think you're just having societal regulations. I love that Australia's doing it. Get a little ahead of us.
I agree.
Did you see Republicans and Democrats actually agreeing that they failed? They actually both agree they failed the American children for a generation. Lindsey Graham, Blumenthal saying the same exact thing. Dick Durbin saying the same thing. So what is Congress going to do about it?
Here's a 15-year-old Australian student reacting to the ban.
We didn't realize it would be this sudden, so we're all a bit in shock still. But since some of us still have our accounts, we're just unsure what's going to happen and how they're going to ensure that we're not going to be able to access social media. But I think eventually without it, we'll learn how to adapt to it. I think that it does help people connect, especially some people who don't really have those interactions in real life. And I do feel bad for people like that because I feel like some people who, you know, struggle with in-person connections, it could be easier for them to use social media to their advantage. And I think that especially since it's quite normalized within the generation, people are just going to have to live without it, and it might be a culture shock at first.
It's definitely going to be a culture shock, but it's going to challenge their minds. I mean, it's going to start off rough because you're going to see all these kids out here panicking and stuff like that, but then it's going to really make us better if it ever happened. I don't think it's going to happen in the U.S., but it happened in Australia, though, so anything is possible. I mean, anything is possible because we really got to go back to the old ways of things, I believe, because we getting worse as a country with social media, man.
A huge information gap. Most of these people of this generation are getting their information from this. You think they're going to start picking up a newspaper or watching TV for information? I just think we should think of all of the ramifications of this. I don't think there's ever a substitute.
It's going to be a culture shock.
But Lawrence, think about this. You're 16 when you're what? Sophomore in high school, maybe freshman,
junior,
probably sophomore. So you've just gotten through the hardest time for a woman, for a girl, and that's middle school. At least it was for me. Your body's changing, or your body's not changing, and all your friends' bodies are changing. You feel left out. You feel like the late bloomer, whatever it is. Some of the boys are starting to be interested in some of the cute girls, and then you feel so terrible about yourself. And so then you go to high school and you feel better about yourself. And that's when you're able, as a woman, to maybe feel, okay, I could have a social media account. When you're my age and I look on social media and I see I wasn't included in a party, I say, I don't care. There's another party the next day. You know, I'll be included in something else. But when you're in middle school and you're seeing all your friends invited to something or a sleepover and you weren't included, it's a lot harder to deal with. You're at a
You
different.
picked a
your
terrible
mind is different
example.
than it is when you're in your 20s.
Yeah,
so
you're about to
delay,
overhear.
delay.
She talking
I'm
about
fine
being
with it.
invited.
At
I'm talking
16,
about to the things that they seeing. I mean, let's look at these other schools, bro. Like, look at China, for an example. Look how they is in kindergarten, dog.
You know what Chinese kindergartens are like?
Look
While
at this.
kids in other kindergartens eat, sleep, and play
Sewing.
games, kids in this Chinese kindergarten do laundry and cook, learning self-reliance. They have outdoor stoves proportionate to their height, and they make their own meals every day, from washing and chopping vegetables to cooking. They eat their own cooked meals with such gusto you'd think they're licking the plates clean. After eating, they voluntarily clean up and even line up to wash dishes. The principal assigns tasks based on the kids' interests to foster their hands-on skills. They start working right after meals, making baskets or knitting scarves for themselves and even using sewing machines to make clothes. They embroider, weave mats, and even make their beds. They're taught independence from a young age. The older kids can cook a meal from scratch, and the younger ones are adept at kneading dough and making pancakes, making chefs jealous. They even squeeze their own milk and make juice from scratch.
What?
From washing and cutting fruit to the final product, they do it all themselves, with teachers offering guidance.
You see what I'm saying? You could train a kid to be whatever, bro. And we training our kids to be nothing but straight killers and perverts and everything else, dog. These other countries don't play when they kids, and that's why they advancing faster than we are, dog.
The North
Like,
Korean
look-
education
like,
system is
look at this
designed
one.
to turn out disciplined, devoted citizens with a heavy focus on the
These
group
kids
over
is
the
getting
individual,
trained to do
and
this
above
stuff.
all else,
That was
devotion.
dog. They was in kindergarten sewing. Come on, man.
Their supreme. If they didn't look so young, you
Look
might
how
not believe
disciplined
they're
they
first
are.
graders. By the time they reach elementary school, Pyongyang students have typically learned their country's most sacred lesson, shedding the individualism of youth for the.
See, this is culture. This is a culture, and this how ain't nothing wrong with this culture. If everybody kids was this disciplined and learning these type of life skills at an early age,
collectivism of
this
North
what
Korean
advances
society,
everything.
and most importantly, loyalty to the leader.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'd like to be a journalist, she says, so I can spread the greatness of the Marshal Kim Jong-un throughout the world.
Go to any of our
find this-
schools and ask a first grader what they want to be when they grow up. They don't even know what a journalist is in the U.S. A first grader. That's
Same
the
photos
difference.
of the late leaders in every classroom and every home.
I don't like how they got to
And
bow
the same
down to the
level
leader
of
like that,
discipline.
though.
Even outdoor exercise is critiqued. Classes are praised for moving in unison.
Look at the discipline, bro.
These Pyongyang orphans will practice for hours until their routine is perfect. Demands are even more rigorous at the International Football School. North Korean athletes are expected to be the best in the world. All students get free uniforms
Ain't nobody-
provided by the state, even at the prestigious Kim Il-sung University.
Why
How
our
much
schools
is the
ain't like
tuition
this?
to come to university?
There's no tuition fee.
They dress with self-respect. They all look. They clothes ironed and everything. They schools provide them the clothes. They discipline. They work out. Ain't nobody on their phones in here.
It's free.
Nobody on no phone.
Yes, it is free.
There's a lot of students who would really like that, I think.
I mean, all of them.
If we go to our schools, you're gonna see. Like I'm telling you, and that's the thing, man. With the yeah, I think we need to get rid of social media, man. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Let's grow together. And that's the news and reaction for the day. Australia, the first country to ban kids from social media. Let me know what y'all feel about that.